The first billionaire rain taps against a car window at 1 a.m. Inside, a man sits alone in the driver's seat, engine off, staring at his phone. He hasn't moved in 6 minutes. On the screen, a number that just changed everything. He should feel joy right now. Instead, his hands are shaking, and he doesn't fully understand why. Because what's about to happen to him has nothing to do with money. It has to do with every single relationship he has ever built, and how none of them are about to stay the same. Level 1, the first hesitation. The next morning, the sun comes in through the same kitchen window it always has. His mother is cracking eggs into the same pan she's used for 15 years. The radio hums low in the background. Nothing has physically changed in this house. But when he walks in, she pauses, just for a second, before saying good morning. A second most people wouldn't notice. He notices. Because that half-second hesitation is the first crack in a wall that used to not exist between them. He sits down. She asks if he wants toast. He says yes. And in that painfully normal exchange, something enormous has already begun. Invisible, silent, and impossible to undo. Level 2, the silent third person. 3 days later, his phone won't stop buzzing. Cousins he hasn't spoken to since a wedding 2 years ago. A childhood friend who just wanted to check in. An old coworker who suddenly remembers his birthday is coming up. Nobody mentions the number. Nobody has to. It sits in every conversation like a third person in the room, listening, shaping every sentence before it's even spoken. At a family lunch, his uncle, who used to talk over him constantly, stops mid-sentence and says, "Actually, what do you think?" He almost laughs. Then he realizes it isn't a joke. Somewhere between last month and this one, his opinion started to matter more than his presence ever did. And that terrifies him more than he expected. Level 3, the loneliness of agreement. There's a particular kind of silence that only exists in expensive rooms. He feels it for the first time at a dinner his old friends throw to celebrate. Laughter comes a little too fast now. Compliments land a little too smooth. Someone jokes about him buying the next round, and the table goes quiet. Not from awkwardness, but from anticipation. He pays. Of course he pays. Walking to his car afterward, he replays the night in his head and realizes something unsettling. He can't remember the last time someone disagreed with him about anything. Not one opinion challenged. Not one joke that pushed back. Just agreement. Smooth, constant, suffocating agreement. And somewhere in that quiet car ride home, a new kind of loneliness introduces itself to him. The loneliness of being surrounded, yet never truly met. Level 4, the only unchanged person. His mother remains the only unchanged variable in his life. She still complains that he doesn't call enough. She still tells him his music is too loud. She still argues about whether he's eating properly, completely unimpressed by anything in his bank account. One evening, sitting at her kitchen table, he almost tells her how strange the world has become. He doesn't. Instead, he just eats the food she made, listens to her talk about a neighbor's dog, and feels, for exactly 40 minutes, like a person again. Not a headline, not a number, not a symbol people orbit. Later that night, staring at the ceiling of a house far bigger than the one he grew up in, he understands something quietly devastating. The people who need nothing from you are the only ones who can still see you clearly. Level 5, warmth with a price tag. By month 4, family gatherings start to feel like negotiations disguised as conversations. A cousin mentions a business opportunity between bites of dinner. An aunt brings up hospital bills a little too casually. Someone asks, lightly, almost playfully, if he's still helping people out. He notices the pattern before he wants to admit it. Requests dressed as small talk. Warmth with a price tag folded quietly inside it. He doesn't get angry. He gets still. The particular stillness of someone realizing a truth they can't unknow. Because what breaks him isn't the asking, it's the timing. Nobody asked when he had nothing to give. Level 6. The list that matters more than money. But inside all that noise, a strange kind of clarity starts to form. He begins keeping a mental list, not of who asked for money, but of who never did. The friend who still insists on splitting the bill exactly down the middle. The cousin who calls just to talk about nothing. His mother, who has never once brought up the number out loud. These names start to mean more to him than any amount in any account ever could. One night, writing nothing more than a text to say happy birthday to an old friend who never once asked him for anything, he realizes something that rearranges how he sees his entire life. Money didn't create new relationships. It revealed which old ones were real all along. Level 7. The second rainy night. Late one night, months later, he's back in a car again. Different car, same kind of silence. Rain taps against the window, just like that first night. His phone buzzes. Another notification, another number that keeps climbing. But this time, his hands don't shake. Because this time, he isn't staring at the screen wondering what's about to change. He already knows. He's staring at the screen thinking about a kitchen with a 15-year-old pan, a mother who still asks if he wants toast, and a small short list of people who looked at him the exact same way both before and after. Everything changed. And for the first time since that first rainy night, he feels something unexpected settle quietly in his chest. Not the thrill of having more. The relief of finally knowing who was never after it in the first place.